Gentlemen, let me ask you something that might just flip the way you see attraction forever. Have you ever observed a guy, not the richest, not the best looking, not even saying a single word? Yet somehow, women seem magnetically drawn to him, almost like there's an invisible energy field around him. There's something going on that most guys don't realize. And it's not about being the best looking or having a ton of money. Here's the truth. Women actually want to approach men, but only when the right psychological signals are in place. The problem is, most guys without even realizing it send out the exact opposite signals. They repel women even when she might already be interested, and then they walk away thinking women just don't approach men. That belief is not only wrong, it's literally killing your chances of ever connecting with someone. So today, right here on Dark Facts 2.0s, I'm going to show you 5 psychological tricks that can get women to approach you without you saying a single word. And trust me, this isn't about cheesy pickup lines or shallow alpha routines. No, this is about mastering invisible signals that flip a switch in her mind and make her want to close the gap and take the lead herself. But before we break down the steps, I want to share a story that perfectly illustrates how this works, and how not understanding this can cost you everything. I came across this story on a relationship discussion forum, and it immediately grabbed my attention because it's something so many men unknowingly experience. The story goes like this. David was a 29-year-old guy. He wasn't unattractive. He dressed well, took care of himself, and wasn't socially awkward. But despite all of that, in social settings, women just didn't seem to notice him. He would go out with his friends, hoping to meet someone new, but the night always ended the same. Him, standing in the background, watching other guys get all the attention, while he just blended into the shadows. One weekend though, David decided enough was enough. He was going to change things. That night, he and his friends went to a popular bar. The place was alive, music pulsing, laughter echoing, conversations sparking in every corner. And then, he saw her, Rachel. She sat at the bar with a couple of friends, sipping her drink, looking effortlessly confident. The kind of presence that makes the whole room fade out when she walks in. Something about her caught his attention, and then something interesting happened. He noticed her stealing quick glances at him. At first, he thought maybe she was just looking around. But then it happened again and again. She wasn't just looking at him, she was checking him out. Now, in an ideal world, this would be the moment where David confidently makes his move. Eye contact, a smile, a quick introduction, a spark, boom, instant chemistry. But instead, he froze. He looked away, pretending he didn't notice, pulled out his phone, and started scrolling mindlessly. He acted completely uninterested. His thought process: if she's really into me, she'll come over. Wrong. Here's the truth. Women, especially attractive women, rarely make the first move unless they feel comfortable and invited to do so. Rachel was intrigued. She was curious. She wanted to approach him, so she gave him one last chance. She subtly shifted in her seat, leaning toward his direction. She moved slightly closer. This was a subconscious test to see if he'd acknowledge her. David, still nothing. No eye contact, no smile, no open body language. To Rachel, that was the answer she needed. He's not interested. So, she turned her attention elsewhere. And here's where it gets painful for David. Not even 10 minutes later, another guy walked in. Nothing special about him. He wasn't the best-looking guy in the room, but his energy, it was magnetic. He wasn't hunched over his phone. He wasn't hiding in the background. He was engaged, talking to people, laughing, making eye contact. Rachel noticed him, and within minutes, she was in a deep conversation with this guy, smiling, laughing, fully invested. And David, he just sat there, completely clueless, watching it all unfold, still believing women just don't approach men. When in reality, he was the reason it didn't happen. Now, pause. What do you think David should have done differently? Think about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments and be honest. Have you ever had a moment like that where you realized, later, you missed your shot? Because that's exactly why we're talking about these 5 tricks to get women to approach you. Most men don't realize they're sending the wrong signals. And because of that, they keep missing opportunities without even knowing it. But here's the good news, that all changes today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step moves that make women feel comfortable, curious, and compelled to approach you without you saying a single word. Alright, let's break this down. The truth is, most guys don't realize they're always sending signals whether they mean to or not. And if those signals are wrong, women won't approach you, even if they're interested. So, let's start step by step. One of the easiest yet most overlooked ways to invite women in is through eye contact. Not just a glance, not a quick look followed by darting your eyes away like you've just been caught. No, I'm talking about a deliberate, confident, controlled gaze. Here's why this is so powerful. Psychologically prolonged but relaxed, eye contact sends a subconscious signal of dominance and self-assurance. In evolutionary psychology, eye contact from a confident male triggers interest because it communicates two things. I notice you, and I'm comfortable enough to let you notice me back. When you pair that with a slow, confident smile, you're creating a micro moment of connection that makes her feel safe to engage. If you catch a woman looking at you, don't immediately look away. Hold the gaze for a moment. Keep your expression relaxed. Then, and this is key, offer a slow, confident smile before looking away. That's it. No winking, no hey, gorgeous from across the room, just a moment. That tells her, yes, I see you, and I'm open to this. Let's go back to David's story. Had he locked eyes with Rachel, held it for just a beat longer, and given her that confident smile, she would have instantly known he was open to interaction. Instead, his lack of response made her doubt herself, and she moved on. Eye contact isn't just about looking, it's about making her feel. That 1 second of silent connection can be the spark that makes her approach you even in a crowded room. So remember, if you're making eye contact but not reinforcing it with the right energy, you're missing one of the easiest opportunities to make women feel safe enough to approach you. And here's something most men don't realize. If a woman looks at you more than once in a short period, that's not random. That's her brain's way of saying, pay attention to him. Ignore it, and you're silently telling her, you're not interesting, you can't be approached if you're invisible. And no, this doesn't mean you need to be the loudest guy in the room or the one drawing all the attention like you're putting on a show. But your positioning matters more than you think. If you want to be approached, you need to be accessible. That means putting yourself in places where women can naturally cross paths with you without feeling like they're making an effort to find you. For example, near the bar, in a central walkway at a party, or close to an event's main gathering area. Here's the psychology behind it. If a woman has to go out of her way to approach you, she's far less likely to do it. But if you're already in a spot that makes casual conversation easy, she can engage with you without it feeling forced. Now, let's talk about the mistake most guys make. They stand on the edges of the room, lean against a wall, or plant themselves in the most isolated corner of the venue. Some even sit with their backs to the crowd, head down, glued to their phone, and then wonder why no one approaches them. Let's be real, if you look like you don't want to be engaged, women will assume you don't want to be engaged. So next time you're out, ask yourself, am I in a place where it's easy for someone to casually start talking to me? Would a woman have to take 3 detours just to get near me? Small adjustments in your positioning can completely change how women perceive your presence. When you're visible, relaxed, and in the flow of the environment, you're not just there, you're inviting interaction without saying a single word. Your body speaks before you do. Whether you realize it or not, a woman will read your posture before she ever hears your voice. And she'll decide in seconds whether you're approachable or someone to avoid. Closed-off posture. Crossed arms, hunched shoulders. Avoiding eye contact. All of these send one of 2 silent messages: I'm not interested, or, worse, I'm uncomfortable and unsure of myself. Neither of these is an invitation for a woman to approach you. On the other hand, open body language signals confidence, warmth, and, most importantly, approachability. Here's how to instantly improve your body language. Keep your shoulders relaxed and slightly back. This creates an open, confident stance that projects strength without aggression. Stand tall with your chest open, projecting self-assurance in a way that feels inviting, not intimidating. Keep your arms free and visible, not crossed over your body. This invites engagement instead of closing you off. Picture David from earlier. If he'd simply uncrossed his arms, leaned back in a relaxed way, and positioned himself so Rachel could easily make eye contact with him, she might have felt comfortable enough to approach him. Instead, his closed-off posture became an invisible, do not disturb sign. The lesson here is simple. Even when you're not talking, your body is constantly sending messages. Make sure it's speaking an inviting language. If you look relaxed in your own skin, she'll feel comfortable stepping into your space. And remember this: women aren't just attracted to confidence. They're attracted to comfort within that confidence. If you look like you're at ease with who you are, it makes it far easier for her to approach you. If there's one thing that can transform you from just another guy in the room to someone magnetic, it's social energy. Women, like all of us, are wired to respond to social proof. This is the same principle that makes us want to eat at the busy restaurant instead of the empty one-hour brain, assumes that if other people are there, it must be worth it. The same goes for you. If a woman sees you engaging with others, laughing, and having a good time, it signals that you're a confident and social individual. Women are much more likely to approach a man who's already interacting and having fun because it removes the risk of rejection. If others are drawn to you, she'll be more likely to believe she'll have a good interaction too. Here's how to implement this naturally. Laugh and interact with your friends. Don't stand stiff like a statue, avoiding everyone. Greet people around you, whether it's the bartender, a group nearby, or even the stranger sitting next to you. React to the environment. If something funny happens, smile or comment on it. Be alive in the moment. When you look like you're enjoying yourself, you send the signal, I'm confident, I'm comfortable, and I'm part of this environment. Women won't approach silent, disconnected observers. They approach engaged participants. Here's a challenge for the next time you're out. For the first 20 minutes, focus only on interacting with your environment. No phone, no leaning against the wall. Watch how quickly people start noticing you when your energy shifts and becomes more dynamic. This is the simplest visual hack you can use, but it's incredibly effective. Wear something that makes you stand out, not in an attention-seeking, desperate way, but in a subtle conversation-starting way. It could be a unique watch, a bold-colored jacket, a ring with an unusual design, or even a well-chosen graphic tee that sparks curiosity. Why does this work? Because women, just like anyone else, look for excuses to start conversations. If you walk in wearing a deep emerald green blazer while the rest of the room is filled with black shirts, you've just created a visual cue. If she likes what she sees, it's an easy opener. I love that jacket. Where'd you get it? That small exchange can be the spark that opens up a conversation. Think about it. If you're dressed like every other guy, you blend in. But if you stand out just enough, you're giving her permission to notice you. And once you're noticed, it's far easier for her to start the conversation because you've made it socially acceptable. Bonus trick: leave one subtle conversation hook. This is a mind-blowing secret that most guys overlook, and it flips curiosity into action almost instantly. Once you master this, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere. The trick is simple. Leave a subtle conversation. Hook something small but intriguing for her to latch onto. This could be something you casually drop into a conversation that's intriguing enough to trigger her curiosity. For example, you're at a coffee shop, you order something unusual, like a lavender espresso. When the barista hands it over, you say, just loud enough for people nearby to hear, this is either going to be the best or the worst thing I've ever had now. What happens if there's a curious woman nearby? Her brain immediately lights up. She's thinking, okay, I need to know whether this was good or not. And that's when she might turn and ask, so, was it worth it just like that? You've created an opening for conversation and you didn't even have to approach her. This works because women, like all humans, are wired for curiosity loops. When you drop an open-ended, intriguing statement like that, her brain seeks closure. And if you make it easy for her to get that closure, she engage with you. The key here is to make it casual and effortless. You don't want her to feel like she's walking into a setup. Make it interesting enough to pull her in without trying to impress. When you master this, you're not chasing women, you're creating gravity. You're becoming the guy who naturally draws people in without lifting a finger. So, let's be crystal clear. Attraction isn't just about looks, it's about the energy you put out. When you make it easy for women to approach you, they will. When you combine strong eye contact, open body language, positioning yourself in the right places, engaging in social interactions, and wearing something visually appealing and maybe throwing in a conversation hook, you become the guy women are naturally drawn to. You're no longer chasing attention, you're attracting it effortlessly now. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one of these tricks and put it into practice. Pay attention to how people react. You might be surprised by how subtle changes can completely shift the way women interact with you. And if you got value from this video, do 2 quick things for me. Hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and tells YouTube that this content is worth recommending. And make sure to subscribe to Dark Facts 2.0 for daily insights that actually work, not the fluff, not the gimmicks, but real psychology-backed attraction strategies. And hey, if you know a guy who always complains that women never approach him, send him this video. You might just change his entire dating life. We've also recommended some great videos on your screen right now. Click one to keep learning. And I'll see you there tomorrow.